There is a plant sitting on a kitchen windowsill in Seoul right now that is doing more for that woman's skin than anything on the shelves of a Sephora. No needle, no prescription, no $200 serum in a glass bottle with a dropper top. Just a small green plant in a clay pot, spreading quietly across the soil surface, producing leaves that her grandmother used and her grandmother's grandmother used. And every generation of women in that family used going back further than anyone can remember. She is not doing anything unusual. She is doing what 500 million people across Asia consider completely ordinary. What she is doing just happens to be something that the Western skincare industry, worth over $120 billion, has spent decades making sure you never thought to ask about. You know retinol, you know hyaluronic acid, you know vitamin C serums and niacinamide and peptides and ceramides and every other ingredient that has cycled through dermatologist recommendations and beauty editor roundups over the past 20 years. You have seen them on shelves, in advertisements, in the ingredient lists of products that cost as much as a car payment. You know these names because enormous amounts of money were spent making sure you knew them, because knowing them meant buying them. And buying them meant the industry kept growing. You do not know the name of the plant on that windowsill in Seoul. Most Americans do not. Most Europeans do not. The plant has been used medicinally and cosmetically across Asia for over 2,000 years. It appears in ancient Indian medical texts. It was used by Chinese physicians for centuries. It built the Korean skincare revolution that the Western beauty world spent the last decade scrambling to understand and copy. And it grows in a pot for $5. The name is Centella Asiatica. In the Western beauty industry, on the rare occasions it appears, it goes by a shortened nickname, Cica. In Korea, it is called bongpool. In Thailand, it is bua bok. In India, it is brahmi. In China, it is ji shui chao. 5 names, dozens of languages, 1 plant, and a history of use so deep and so consistent across cultures that had no contact with each other that the only reasonable conclusion is that the plant works. Not theoretically, not marginally, remarkably well. And the reason you are only hearing about it now, if you are hearing about it for the first time, is not an accident. It is the entirely predictable outcome of an economic system that rewards what can be owned and quietly buries what cannot. Let us go back to the beginning, because the history of this plant is more interesting than any marketing story the beauty industry has ever told. More than 2,000 years ago, scholars in India were compiling some of the earliest medical texts in human history. This plant appears in those pages, not as a footnote, not as a curiosity, but as a foundational herb. Healers described applying the leaves to repair wounds and regenerate damaged skin. They prescribed it for longevity. Yogis consumed it before meditation to sharpen mental clarity. It was not obscure. It was central to an entire medical tradition that predated the Roman Empire. In traditional Chinese medicine, physicians documented it across dynasties as a wound healer and circulation stimulant. Chinese herbalists counted it among the core herbs for long life and skin health. The reverence was consistent, the documentation was extensive, and it never faded. Centuries of use without a single corporate marketing budget behind it, sustained purely because generation after generation of practitioners watched it work. But the most striking piece of history does not come from a medical text. It comes from a jungle. Across Southeast Asia, village healers began noticing something. Wounded tigers in the wild were seeking out patches of this specific plant. The animals would roll in the leaves. The wounds healed faster than the healers expected. They started calling the plant tiger grass. They began applying crushed leaves to their own cuts, burns, and aging skin based on what they had watched those animals do. The observation was not scientific by any modern definition, but the practice it generated worked well enough to continue for centuries across dozens of cultures without interruption. In 1942, French physicians working in Madagascar took an extract from this plant and developed a pharmaceutical wound healing treatment from it. That product became a licensed medicine used in hospitals across Europe for the following 8 decades. Western medicine quietly turned this plant into a pharmaceutical product. Nobody told Western consumers they could grow the source plant on their own windowsill for the price of a cup of coffee. That gap between what the medical establishment knew and what consumers were told is where the story gets interesting. The compounds inside Centella asiatica that create its effects are not mysterious. They have been identified and studied extensively. The 4 primary active molecules are asiaticoside, madecassoside, asiatic acid, and madecassic acid. These are not surface-level ingredients. They do not sit on top of your skin the way a moisturizer does, creating the temporary illusion of hydration that washes off with the next face wash. They penetrate into the deeper layers of the skin and activate specific cells called fibroblasts. Fibroblasts are the cells responsible for producing collagen. The plant does not add collagen to your skin from outside. It signals your own cells to produce more of it from within, the way your body did naturally and abundantly when you were in your 20s. Beyond collagen stimulation, the same compounds reduce inflammation, calm chronic redness, strengthen the skin barrier, and accelerate wound healing. In clinical testing, participants using a Centella-based treatment saw measurable reductions in pore size and skin roughness in 15 days of regular application. 15 days. One plant doing the work of an entire shelf of products, each of which was sold to you separately, with its own explanation of why you needed it specifically. Now look at what the Western skincare industry chose to celebrate instead. Retinol, the ingredient that Western dermatology elevated above all others, that built a market now valued at somewhere between $7 and $8 billion, that fills shelves at every price point from drugstore to department store. Retinol works. The clinical evidence supports its effectiveness for reducing wrinkles and improving skin texture. Nobody is disputing that, but retinol also causes irritation, peeling, redness, dryness, increased sensitivity to sunlight that requires sunscreen application even on cloudy days, flaking during the adjustment period that can last weeks. These side effects are so common and so reliably expected that the skincare industry created an entire secondary category of products specifically designed to repair the damage that retinol causes. Barrier repair creams, redness calming serums, gentle recovery moisturizers. You buy the retinol, it damages your skin. You buy the recovery products to fix the damage, and the industry collects revenue on both ends of the problem it created. Researchers who tested Centella asiatica directly against retinoids found results that should have fundamentally changed how the Western beauty industry operates. Centella improved wrinkles at comparable levels to the retinoid treatments. Skin hydration increased in the Centella group and did not increase in the retinoid group. And the side effect rate in the Centella group was roughly 1/3 that of the retinoid group. Comparable wrinkle reduction, superior moisture retention, dramatically fewer adverse reactions. The evidence has been sitting in research databases for years. The dermatologist who recommended your retinol last year has access to the same databases. The blank stare you would get walking into an American pharmacy tonight and asking about Centella asiatica tells you everything you need to know about where the money flows. Here's the structural problem. The global skincare market does not run on effectiveness. It runs on ownership. An ingredient that can be synthesized, patented, licensed, and reformulated generates intellectual property, encapsulated retinol, time-release retinol, buffered retinol, stabilized retinol. Each variation creates a new patent, a new product line, a new marketing campaign, a new reason to charge more for something you already bought in a slightly different form last year. The complexity is not incidental. The complexity is the product. It creates barriers that protect profit margins and keep consumers dependent on the companies managing that complexity. Centella asiatica is a creeping perennial herb that spreads through runners the way mint spreads, naturally, aggressively, and without any assistance from the grower. A single starter plant fills a container within months. The fresh leaves contain the active compounds. No extraction technology required. No encapsulation patent needed. No processing facility, no supply chain, no subscription. A plant that spreads itself and works fresh off the stem cannot generate the repeat sales that sustain a billion-dollar industry. It cannot be controlled. It cannot be owned. It cannot be made proprietary. What cannot be owned cannot be marketed. What cannot be marketed disappears from public awareness. What disappears from public awareness gets replaced on the shelf by something that can be owned, marketed, and sold to you again next month when this month's bottle runs out. 3 generations of Western consumers grew up without hearing the name Centella Asiatica. Not because anyone made a decision to hide it, because no corporation had a financial incentive to reveal it. Research follows funding. Funding follows patents. This plant generates neither, so the research that exists comes primarily from Korean government laboratories, Thai university hospitals, and Indian research institutions, publishing in journals that the Western medical establishment historically treated as peripheral. The knowledge existed. It just existed in the wrong language for the wrong economic system to find it profitable. Walk through the Chatuchak market in Bangkok on any given morning, and you will see bundles of fresh centella leaves stacked in neat piles beside jasmine and ginger. Visit a beauty counter in the Myeongdong district of Seoul, and every third product on the shelf features the word Cica in bold green letters. Step into an Ayurvedic clinic in Kerala, and dried centella sits in plain glass jars alongside turmeric and ashwagandha. The knowledge was never hidden in Asia. It was always public, always available, always completely ordinary. The hiding happened on this side of the world, and it happened through indifference rather than intention. Nobody needed to suppress it. Nobody profited from promoting it, so it simply never arrived. Now it can arrive on your windowsill for $5. Centella Asiatica wants 2 things: moisture and gentle light. Think about where it grows naturally, along the marshy edges of streams and rice paddies across tropical Asia, in partial shade, with its roots consistently damp. Replicate those conditions in a container, and the plant does the rest entirely on its own. Get a wide, shallow pot, at least 8 to 10 inches across. Fill it with standard potting mix. Plant a starter from a nursery or online herb supplier. Water it thoroughly and place it somewhere with indirect light. A kitchen windowsill works. A shaded patio works. A bathroom shelf with natural light works. Keep the soil consistently moist but not waterlogged. That is genuinely the entire process. In week 1, you have a small cluster of round, scalloped leaves that look like tiny lily pads on short green stems. By week 4, runners begin stretching outward across the soil surface. By week 8, the container is filling with dense, low-growing foliage. By week 12, you are harvesting regularly, and the plant is producing faster than you can use it. 1 plant becomes 10. 10 become a permanent supply that requires no replanting, no reseeding, and no second purchase from anyone ever. For your skin, the applications are straightforward. Crush fresh leaves into a paste and apply directly to your face as a mask, and leave it for 20 minutes. Steep leaves in jojoba oil or coconut oil for 2 weeks to create an infused facial oil that you use every night. Brew the leaves into a strong tea, let it cool, and use it as a toner morning and evening. Blend fresh leaves with aloe vera gel for a calming treatment on irritated or inflamed skin. The active compounds are present in the living leaf. No laboratory, no processing equipment, no $30 shipping fee. The average American woman spends over $150 a year on anti-aging skincare. Many spend several times that. A Centella starter plant costs $5 and propagates itself indefinitely. The plant on your windowsill does not know what a patent is. It does not know what a profit margin is. It just keeps growing, keeps spreading, and keeps producing the same leaves that 500 million people never stopped using, while the rest of the world was busy buying the expensive imitation.